Alright. Hello. Where am I? Let me see. Where's my button? There it is. Alright. Think we are good to go. Hopefully. One of those days where I'm like, man, having one more monitor would be great. But it's okay, I think I probably could have made that a little bit tinier, the guide that I'm following from yesterday. Not that I like super need it in this moment, but you know, for later. But yeah, either way, let us jump back into Recursive Mother Goose, which is the oh my god, I'm dumb. I don't even have the right one up right now. But you know what? That's fine, cuz I don't need it. I'm already locked in. We did what we needed to do. Cuz if not, we wouldn't have it. It's fine. I have the way, dude, I'm so my brain was like, I saw a K and I was like, yeah, that's the one. I'm looking at Karisu's ending, which is the one that I got by accident from the get-go. But no, we're doing Kagari's. But it's okay, because the one I wanted to do after that is Maho's, and I have that one up. So, it's fine. My brain is working at full capacity. Never. It's alright, I don't technically need to look at anything. I forgot- I didn't actually forget. We get to start off talking to Okabe's mom. That's kinda crazy, I'm not gonna lie. Because we were going on a wild goose chase, figuring out about the song that set off Kagari. Which is still wild, because what do you mean? Okabe's mom was just hanging out with Yuki, low-key. After hearing the shocking news that Kagari's song traced its roots all the way back to my mom, we went back to the lab. It would have been embarrassing to call my mom in front of Mayuri and Kagari. So I went out up to the roof in the cold to call home. When I asked my mom if she was going to a cooking class, she seemed surprised that I didn't know. Of course it was. A bad scientist. Was there anything in the world more terrifying than hearing about your own dark history from your mom? Oh my god. Not even specifically Okabe. Freaking Kyoma singing it in the shower. That's crazy. Kind of, I guess.
早く帰ってきなさい。
I mean, do we really call it? I don't know.
マジか。
How could Okabe do this?
おかえり、どうだった？わかりましたか？
I explained what I'd heard from my mom, even though I didn't really understand it myself. Yeah, they were surprised. I was more surprised than anybody. I was so surprised that I was actually feeling pretty calm.
なると、どういうことなんでしょうか？
I mean, it's interesting that he doesn't remember it. What did it mean? Kagari had learned the song from Mayuri in the future. Mayuri had learned it in the present from Suzuha. Suzuha had learned it from Yuki in the future. Yuki had learned it from my mom. Wait, no, let us see her! And my mom had learned it from me.
俺、歌なんて歌ってたか？
It's low-key, kinda cool. Incredibly timey-wimey, but interesting. If it was a popular song, maybe I would have hummed it, but...
ダメだ。思い出せない。
どうしよう。手がかりなくなっちゃったね。
Mayuri looked like she was about to cry. Kagari gave her a gentle hug.
落ち着いてください、まゆりさん。岡部さん、そのまゆりさんが落ち込んでいた時っていうのは何か手がかりになりませんか？
I mean... What are the lyrics again? It just made me think of her, I can't think of, like, the exact ones. But to me, it's like she's singing about... Or I guess whoever's singing it. It's like they're singing about her, Stardust handshake.
そうは言っても、何か特別なことをしていたわけじゃないからな。まゆりが墓参りに行ってるのを迎えに行くくらいで。
That was when Kiyoma Hoen, now sealed away, had been born. Okay, he'll return.
じゃあ、そのお墓に行ってみませんか？何か思い出すかも。
Was that possible?
ここまで来たなら、最後まできちんと確かめてみたいですから。おかり、まゆしーからもお願い。
わかった。行こう。
So far, I'm pleasantly surprised that this is just, like, not romantic. Thank God. I was scared. I mean, there's still time for me to be disappointed with the other ones. But so far, this is just, like, cute mom-daughter, uncle stuff. You know what I mean? It's really more Okabe, or not Okabe, it's really more Mayuri and Kagari stuff. Which I'm okay with.
ありがとうございます。
It's refreshing. The sun was about to set, so we decided to go to the next day. The next day, the sky had been cloudy since morning. I met with Kagari and Mayuri at a spot near the cemetery where her grandmother was buried.
雨降ってきちゃいそうだね。私、傘持ってきてないんですよね。
This is oddly specific that they're giving us the sky when we've We've been to the graveyard so many times. Like, we have an image for that.
天気予報では降らないって言ってたから。マユシーもだよ。
And I never brought an umbrella when it wasn't raining. In other words, nobody had an umbrella. Marlon, hello!
雨が降り出す前
How's it
に
going?
切り上げるようにしよ
おばあちゃん、オカリンが来てくれて喜ぶだろうな。
It is! I felt like switching it up today. To be fair, I don't think I have done that in any... I don't think I've done it in this playthrough. But yeah, I do. I can turn it white if I want to. I think I did it in Kingdom Hearts.
う。そうだな。
Sometimes you just gotta, you know, you gotta really lean into the anime protagonist here.
それに、今日はかがりさんも来てくれたし。
Yeah, I don't think I did in Steins Gate. I think I thought about it one day and then I was like, nah. I was feeling it today.
マユシーの素敵なお友達をおばあちゃんに紹介できるのが楽しみなのです。
Anime protagonist hair is green or blue, though. I mean... Fair. Fair. But, like... Okay, I guess... Hello, Aya. I guess, to be fair... They may not be the protagonists, but... If an anime character has white or gray hair, they're usually one of my favorite characters. As for what has happened, not much. We spoke to Okabe's mom and found out that she learned the song from him, which he so far has no recollection of. Apparently, when he was young and, Mayuri's grandmother died, that's when he started singing it. He sang it, like, in the shower, and his mom overheard. So yeah, right now we're going to visit Mayuri's grandmother's grave to see if that kinda sparks any memories, but yeah, that's about it. Also, it's gonna rain and no one has an umbrella. Yeah. Yeah, it went from Okabe to his mom to Yuki to Suzuha to Mayuri to Kagari.
そうだな。急ごう。
But like, in the present, into the future, back into the present, into the future, like, yeah, in a really kind of a cool way. We finally arrived at the cemetery. The skies were getting darker and it felt like it could rain at any minute. We finished cleaning the grave and each of us put our hands together in front of us. Then Mayuri sat down and started talking to her grandma. Kagari and I watched her from a short distance away.
それでね、かがりさんが驚いた顔で入ってきて、バターンって気絶しちゃったんだ。もうびっくりしたよ。マユシーはすっごく慌てちゃったし、すっごく心配だったんだけど、どうしてもバイトに行かなきゃいけなくて。だから、オカリンとダルくんにかがりさんのことお願いって言ってラボを出たの。
We're just here to see if Mayuri talking to her grandmother will, I guess, spark any memories for Okabe.
でも本当は心配で心配で胸がはち切れそうだったんだよ。
And I guess also for Mayuri to talk.
岡部さん、
Kagari whispered to me, concerned.
ああ。マユリのことなら気にしないでくれ。あれは 儀式みたいなものなんだ。
儀式？
ああ。まゆりはおばあちゃん子でさ、そのおばあちゃんが亡くなった時には魂が抜けたみたいになってたんだ。半年くらい誰とも口を聞かずに、毎日ここに来ては一日中ぼんやり立ってた。
Am I dyeing my hair? No. I don't know if I could pull off white hair. Or even like the kind of toned silver. I don't know. I wish. That'd be kind of cool. But I'm not sure. Like, I know whenever you see somebody with kind of like the toned silver hair, if they don't... Oh, yeah, you'd have to like wash it with toner or like that purple shampoo or whatever. I don't know. I just know people always talk about like a purple hair wash or something, but like my hair is brown and I don't know, because if I ever did, like the times that I have dyed my hair, I've only dyed like the top and then had kind of like undercut type thing. And yeah, I don't know if like that would go well with brown hair. It's like usually when you see it, it's with like black hair. So, I don't know.
まるで自分もおばあちゃんのところに行ければいいのにって。
I just figure there's plenty of time for white hair when I'm old. You're so real. You're so real.
それを岡部さんが連れ戻したんですよね。
どうしてそれを？
まゆりさんから聞いちゃいました。
あいつめ。
いいじゃないですか。かっこいいですよ。マッドサイエンティストの法王院京馬さん。
Yoin Kyoma. I like how his mom called him the bad scientist. She was close.
やめてくれ。あの時は必死だったんだ。後から思えば正解だったわけだけど、やっぱり恥ずかしい真似をしたと思うよ。
I'd used every bit of knowledge I could scrape up from anime and video games to try and keep Mayuri's soul from leaving us.
連れてなんて行かせない。まゆりは俺の人質だ。人体実験の生贄なんだ。どこにも逃がさないからな。
そっか。まゆしは人質なんだね。じゃあしょうがないね。うんうん、とても素敵なお話だと思います。
そうかな。
そうですよ。あ、
ん？
降ってきました。
I looked up just in time for a drop to fall on my cheek. A cold rain started to come down.
こんなに早く降り始めるとは思いませんでしたね。どうします？
We'd just gotten here and hadn't done anything yet. I wanted to at least do a little research before we left.
一旦雨宿りできる場所を探そう。コンビニで傘を買ってもいいし。
わかりました。まゆりさん、一度駅に戻りましょう。え？ああ、
The rain started to come down harder as we ran towards the station.
雨だ。ずぶ濡れだよ。先に傘を買っておけばよかったですね。これじゃシャワー浴びないと風邪
Mayuri turned around and suddenly stopped. I stopped too. I looked back and saw that Kagari wasn't keeping up with us. She was standing some distance away with a blank look on her face. She was facing us, but seemed to be staring off into the distance.
かがりさん、どうしたの？聞こえる。
Her voice was flat and emotionless. It was like she was a different person than the one that had been there a moment before.
聞こえるって何が？
声が聞こえる。かがりさん？
Mayuri started to walk towards Kagari.
私、行かなきゃ。
And suddenly, Kagari ran through the puddles of water and out into the street. A truck was coming. Excuse me? Mayuri screamed, and my body moved on its own. I yanked Mayuri's shoulder down and knocked her to the ground so that she couldn't run out on her own. And then I used that momentum to run out into the street myself. Oh!
昔はね、今みたいに空気が汚れていなかったから、みんな雨に濡れても気にしなかったんだよ。
I've not even been here for like 30 minutes, and I was like, damn, this is kind of nice that it's just kind of, you know, not romance, and it's just like a mom-daughter time. Like, this is nice. Why do I speak? I should have known!
かがりちゃんくらいの年の頃はね、雨が降るのは楽しみだったんだ。オカリンと一緒にお外を走り回ったの。雨の中を走るとね、まるで海の中を泳いでるみたいなんだ。
I love you, Mayuri, but that's not true. That's not true.
オカリンとママはね、その中を泳ぐ魚なの。世界でたった2匹だけの。楽しかったな。
それはいつのことだっただろう。1998年に鈴葉お姉ちゃんと別れてから長いこと閉じ込められていた施設。私がそこから逃げ出したのはいつのことだっただろう。逃げ出した理由は急にママに会いたくなったから、それだけだった。
Oh, interesting. At the place where she was kept, Kagari was waiting for the professor to come like always when she happened to look outside and see that it was raining. Nothing good ever happens in any of these games when we're looking at the sky and there's rain. Like, in any of them. Like, this specific kind of... You know what I mean? This viewpoint? Nothing good ever happens, bro. When she smelled the water through the window, she remembered what her mom had said. And the next thing she knew, she'd taken off the headset she was wearing. Nobody had expected it, so escaping was easy. She ripped off the cords on her arms and used a little window to go outside. And then she'd snuck in the back of a truck that was just leaving the parking lot. The facility she'd been kept in must have been deep within the mountains. After hours of shaking, the truck finally reached a town somewhere. Ah, yeah, that's really cute, by the way. About rain and fish having the same sound but different characters in Mandarin. It's raining fishies. When the truck stopped, she jumped out and wandered in the rain with nowhere to go. She didn't have any destination in mind. She wanted to see her mom, but didn't know where she was. And even if she did find her, her mom would have been younger than Kagari and wouldn't know who she was. She'd run away from the facility on impulse, but she had no money and there was nothing she could do, except wait for the professor to come find her. Until then, she wanted to get wet in the rain. The rain kept falling for a long time. Her clothes got wet, but she didn't care.
雨が痛くないなんて変な感じ。
What you mad about? My freaking controller keeps disconnecting. Xbox, don't die on me, please. The rain in this era didn't sting when it landed on your skin. It was warm. For the first time, Kagari learned that nature could do things other than hurt you. There was life in this rain. That's how it felt to her. The rain in this era was alive. It was totally different than the dead rain of the future. Kagari kept walking, enjoying the feeling of being surrounded by living rain. How long had she walked? When her legs finally started to get tired, she sat down at a bench with a roof over it. It was a trolley platform. It was unmanned, without even a ticket station. She sat down and looked up at the sky. The rain was still falling.
きっと神様はこの雨も嫌いなんだろうな。生きている雨より死んでいる雨の方が好きなんだろうな。そうじゃなきゃ未来の雨が死んでいる理由を説明できないもの。
The dead rain sure didn't seem better than the living rain to Kagari. Bleh. But there was one thing she was sure of. In the future, where Mom was, the rain was dead. When she saw Mom again, the rain would be dead. But she wasn't really mad at God.
迷子ですか?
A boy was standing next to the bench. He was the same age as Kagari, or maybe a little younger. He was holding an umbrella, but the area below his knees was soaking wet. He must have walked in the rain for a long time. Kagari said nothing as he sat down next to her. He looked tired and in pain.
僕も
The boy talked to her in a voice that was a whisper. What he talked about, she couldn't remember. But he seemed to be in so much pain, as if he was carrying the weight of the whole world's sadness on his shoulders. Why had he talked to her when they'd never met before? Why had he decided to open up to Kagari? Strangely, it didn't bother her. She was the same. She was the same as he was. And strangely, she realized something. There were things in this world that you just couldn't change. There were things in this world where all you could do was watch them slip through your fingers. You couldn't give up on them, but you had no choice but to give up. She felt that despair. Maybe the rain had brought the two of them together. There were so many people in the world, and yet the two of them had no one they could talk to. So maybe the rain had brought them together. The living rain. Why are you yelling? Things are dramatic right now. I know, I think you're mad that I moved the AC and it's on you. I'll move it back after. The warm rain. The gentle rain.
オカリンとママはね、その中を泳ぐ魚なの。世界でたった2匹だけの。
Mommy had looked so happy when she told that story, but it sounded sad to Kagari, because the world was so big, and it was just the two of them alone. It would be lonely and sad to have no one else there. That's what she'd thought. But now she understood how Mom felt. Just a little. Just two fish, alone in the world. But that was different than being totally alone. No matter what else, there was someone next to you who felt the same way. It was lonely, but she was sure it wasn't that lonely. That's what she felt, at the bottom of the sea of living rain.
探し物ひとつ
He learned it from Kagari? Oh my god.
星の笑う声
They cooked.
風に瞬いて手を伸ばせばつかめるよ
There was nothing Kagari could do for the boy, but she felt like he needed that song. The next thing she knew, the boy was gone.
雨やまないな
探したよ。ほら、行こう。どうしたんだい？
私
So she's escaped multiple times?
行かなきゃ
She shook off the professor's hand and ran off the street through the pouring rain. And then she saw a truck, splashing up water from the puddles as it came barreling towards her. Kagari woke up and realized she was in a hospital bed.
係さん
Mayuri was looking down at her with eyes swollen bright red.
おかり係さん気がついたよ
Oh shit?
私
トラックにはねられそうになったんだ。
What was the jump scare when we see freaking Okabe's model?
怪我はなかったんだけどな。気を失ってたから念のために救急車を呼んだ。君は保険証を持ってないから医療費はとんでもない額になるかもな。
しょうがないよあの時はそうするしかなかったもん係さんが無事でよかったおかりんがねギリギリのところで助けたんだよ二人とも死んじゃったのかと思ってまゆしいわ
Girl, me too!
泣くなよ、まゆり。
そうでしたぼんやり覚えてます岡部さんが飛び出してきてくれたことごめんなさい私どうかしてたありがとう
いや、無事ならいいんだ。
In a fit of emotion, Mayuri leapt on Kagari.
よかったよかがりさん本当に心配したんだからまゆりさん違う
Kagari finally understood everything.
そうじゃない。この人はまゆりさんじゃない。そうだ。この人はママだ。やっと会えた。
Now it was Kagari's turn to give Mayuri a big hug.
かがりさん、違うよ。まゆしーはママじゃないよ。
違ってなんかない。ママはかがりのママなの。
She couldn't stop herself from talking like a little girl. The last 10 years vanished, and Kagari was once again a small child.
ママってかがり、記憶が戻ったのか？
おかりん、おじさん。全部思い出した。私は椎名まゆりの娘、椎名かがりだよ。
Mayuri's like, huh?
だってかがりさん、まゆしーより年上だよ。それにまゆしーは赤ちゃん産んだりとかしてないし。
ママ、私は未来から来たんだよ。未来のママは孤児だった私を引き取って養女にしてくれたの。
まゆしーが？
そうだよ。私に生きる理由を与えてくれたのがママなの。ママはね、私を危ない目に遭わせないために一番安全なところに逃がしてくれた。
安全なところ？
過去だよ。ママが幼かった頃のまだ平和だった日
The
本なら
safest place
安全に
possible.
暮らせるだろう。
2010. Oh god.
でもやっぱり寂しかった。ここにはママがいないんだもの。どんな安全な場所でもママと離れ離れになるんじゃ意味なんてないもん。ママ、会いたかったよ。
Kagari clung to Mayuri on the soft bed and cried for a long time. At first, Mayuri was confused, but she eventually hugged her back gently.
かがりちゃん。
That's cute. That's a good one right there.
ごめんね。ごめんね。ごめんね。辛かったよね。寂しかったよね。ママのせいでずっと泣いてたんだよね。ごめんね。
こうして私、椎名かがりは全ての記憶を取り戻した。それからの数ヶ月間はただ楽しかった。毎日のようにラボに集まってママやその友達と遊んだ。みんな本当にいい人たちだった。退屈する暇なんて1秒もなかった。特にママはできるだけ時間を作って私と一緒にいてくれた。一緒にご飯を食べに行ったり、一緒にショッピングに行ったり、目的もなく一緒に散歩したりした。たわいもないその全てが私が心の底から求め続けていたものだった。以前は頭の中に響いていた声もママとたくさん話しているうちに いつの間にか聞こえなくなっていた。ママはどんな時でも笑顔を私に見せてくれた。そして心から嬉しそうに私の話を聞いてくれた。本当に幸せだった。お泊まり会も何度もした。ラボやママの家やルカ君の家でお菓子を食べながら遅くまで話して、夜はママと同じ布団で眠りについた。布団の中では小さな声で二人であの歌を歌った。ママが二人をつないでくれた歌だと言ったあの歌を。確かにあの歌は私とママとをつないでくれた。私は小さい頃にママにこの歌を教えてもらった。ママは鈴葉お姉ちゃんから聞いた。鈴葉お姉ちゃんはゆきさんから、ゆきさんはおかりんおじさんのお母さんから、おかりんおじさんのお母さんはおかりんおじさんから、そしておかりんおじさんは確かなことはわからない。でももしそうだったらそれはとても素敵なことだ。他にもママとたくさん話した。学校の話、ラボの話、おかりんおじさんの話、未来の話、恋の話、本当にいろんなことを。ある時ママが急にこんな話をしたことがあった。
ねえかがりちゃん、まゆしーはね、思うのです。この歌は大好きな人を励ます歌なんじゃないかなって。その人は大切な宝物をなくして悲しくて悲しくて眠っちゃったの。どんなに揺さぶっても眠ったまま。それくらい悲しかったから。でもね、その宝物は実はなくなってないんだ。本当はちょっと手を伸ばせば届くところにあるの。だけどその人は宝物がすぐ近くにあることに気づかないでずっと眠ったままなの。でもね、その人はきっと本当は誰かが起こしてくれるのをずっと待ってるんだ。だってね、その人はそばにいるから。いなくなったわけじゃないから。それがいつになるのかわからないけど、それでもいつかきっと目を覚ましてくれる、そういう歌なんじゃないかなって思うんだ。
そしてママは私を見てにっこりと微笑んでくれた。カーテンから漏れる月明かりでぼんやりと見えたママの瞳がとても澄んで見えた。初めて見る綺麗な色の瞳だった。けれど後から思うと、あの時のママの瞳は以前にも見たことがあった。あの時私が記憶を取り戻したあの雨の日、ママは私を抱きしめながらあんな瞳をしていた。あの時ママはずっと同じ言葉を繰り返していた。ごめんねかがりちゃん、ごめんねと。そのごめんねはママが未来のママ自身の代わりに謝っているんだと思ってた。未来のママが私を一人ぼっちにしたことを謝っているんだって、そう思ってた。けれどそうじゃなかった。あの時ママは他の誰でもなく2011年の椎名真由里として私に謝っていたんだ。私を一人ぼっちにしてごめんねと。そのことに気づいたのは半年後、2011年 7月7日、七夕の日だった。本当は分かってた。こんなところに呼び出して、ママ、何の用かな。何かサプライズでも考えてるのかな。
Slight fear? Kagari whispered as if she wanted it to be true. Today was July 7th, Tanabata. The lab was going to have a Tanabata party with the Tenoji family on the roof of the building. It was essentially an excuse to hold a barbecue. The sky was clear that day, so the night stars were sure to be pretty.
早く戻って準備の続きしなきゃ。ママと一緒に。
That seems nice.
本当は分かってた。
I don't like that she keeps saying it like that.
私が何を意味するのか。分かってて、でも自分に対して分からないふりをしてた。本当はここには来たくなかった。見たくないものから目をそらしていたかった。
I took one step after another towards the roof.
早く行かなきゃ。ママが待ってる。どうして今になって。ママ。
When I opened the door, I was met with a burst of warm wind and the gentle summer twilight. The stars could already be seen twinkling in the evening sky. Oh my god. Mayuri was there. She was standing right next to the time machine. She had one hand on her head to keep the wind from blowing away her hat, and another reached out toward the sky. Her open hand stretched straight up towards the Akihabara sky, as if she was trying to grab the brightest star. Her eyes seemed to look past the stars towards something beyond. It was so pretty, so ephemeral. Ephemeral? Oh my god, I'm losing it today. It's so fragile.
Mama.
Kagari couldn't stop herself from crying out. It felt like if she didn't stop her, the stars would take her mother away. Oh my god!
係ちゃん
Different outfit? And a tutu. I love her little hat.
ママ。
The tension started to drain from Kagari's body. Good. Mommy was acting normal now. There was nothing to worry about. Mommy would never leave her, ever. When Kagari ran over, Mayuri lowered her hand that she'd reached out towards the sky.
どうしたの？どうしてここに呼んだの？
Mayuri smiled, slightly embarrassed, and spun the other way. And then she looked up at the time machine.
係ちゃんはこれに乗ってきたんだよね。
急に何？そんなしみじみ言うことじゃ。
Her words caught in her throat. She realized that the time machine's hatch was open.
どうしてタイムマシンのハッチが開いてるの？
And then someone appeared from within the time machine.
かがり！
Oh my god, Suzuha got an outfit? That's crazy!
お前、どうして？
I didn't know she was allowed to do that. I like it.
それはこっちのセリフだよ。二人で何してるの？
まゆ姉さん、かがりには秘密にしておくって約束したじゃないか。
The way I second guessed if Mayuri's outfit was different, but that because it looks so similar to what she normally wears that I'm like, I could just be making shit up. But Suzuha's, yeah, no, that just proves it. Look at them in their little summer fits.
黙ってて
Love that for
ごめん
them.
ね、すずさん。まゆしーね、どうしてもかがりちゃんにはちゃんとお別れを言っておきたかったの。
Pain.
すぐ終わるから準備を進めておいて。
I shouldn't complain. We literally thought she got hit by a bus. Van. Whatever. Same thing. Close enough.
わかった。終わったら
Twice even.
乗って。
It was looking dire. Suzuha disappeared back inside the time machine.
秘密？お別れ？準備？ママも鈴葉お姉ちゃんも何の話をしてるの？私全然わからないよ。本当は分かってた。本当はママからメッセージが来た時からもう分かってた。でも認めたくなかった。タイムマシンがまたかがりとママを離れ離れにしてしまうことを認めたくなかったの。
あのね、まゆしーはこれからすずさんと一緒にタイムマシーンに乗るの。
Wait, what?
大事な人に目を覚ましてもらうために。
無理だよ。世界線は収束しちゃうの。ママや鈴葉お姉ちゃんがどんなに頑張ったって変えられない。誰にも変えようがないのよ。
そうだね。きっとまゆしーじゃ変えられない。
だったら。
でもね、オカリンは別なの。オカリンには未来を変える力がある。そのオカリンを、あの日のオカリンの背中をちょっとだけ押すぐらいならまゆしーにもできるはずだから。チャンスはあの日だけだから。
うまくいくわけない。
Higari grabbed Mayuri's arms, but she just smiled sadly.
それでもまゆしーはもう一度会いたいんだ。法王院京馬に、私の彦星様にもう一度会いたいの。
そんな。でも本当は分かってた。
Ever since the day she got her memories back, Kagari's life had been truly happy. She'd lived every day in a peaceful Japan, with no war, and with Mayuri and the rest of the lab. Every day shined like a jewel, and she thought it would last forever. But she'd known what that look in Mayuri's eyes had meant. She'd known why, even when everyone was having fun, Mayuri always seemed kind of sad.
私はどうなるの？もしオカリンおじさんがシュタインズゲートへたどり着いたとして、そこでは戦争が起きないかもしれない。そうすればたくさんの人は救われるかもしれない。だけどそしたら私はママと会えないよ。
そんなことないよ。どの未来でだってまゆしーとかがりちゃんは会えるよ。その世界ではかがりちゃんは一人じゃないかもしれない。本当のお父さんとお母さんがいて幸せに暮らしているかもしれない。でもまゆしーはそれでもかがりちゃんに会いに行くから。それでね、 かがりちゃんととってもとっても仲良しになるから。だからかがりちゃんは何にも心配しなくていいんだよ。
私もママもお互いのことを忘れちゃうかもしれないんだよ。私のことを覚えていないのにどうやって会いに来てくれるの？絶対無理だよ。
マユシーにはきっとかがりちゃんがわかるよ。
なんでそんなことを言い切れるの？
だってね、それが運命だもん。マユシーとかがりちゃんの絆はどんなことにも負けたりしない。だから今の記憶がなくなっても絶対にマユシーはあなたを見つけ出すから。
Dude, this shit is so depressing. Like, before, when we discussed this, we were like, oh, you know, Mayuri being her mom, even if there isn't a war, surely it's just, you know, it's one of those things, like convergence, it'll just happen, no matter what. But now, Mayuri herself is saying that it might not. Like, bro. Mama. That's rough. Tears like pearls fell from Mayuri's eyes, but she kept smiling at Kagari anyway. And for the first time, Kagari realized how strong Mayuri Shino really was. She realized, even if Mayuri didn't, how tough and strong her will was. This girl, who seemed so small and fragile, believed in the power of the future more than anyone in the world.
じゃあそろそろ行くね。
Mayuri was about to get in the time machine. She could see Mayuri's legs shaking with each step up the ladder she took. She couldn't let this happen. It would just end up like that day in 2036. Kagari couldn't take that anymore. Like losing their memories from like the timeline shifting. Kagari clung to Mayuri's body.
ママを過去になんて行かせない。ママの代わりに私が行く。
Kagari grabbed the phone that Mayuri was holding and then pulled down on her hard. That scream. Mayuri lost her balance and fell off the ladder. And Kagari leapt inside.
かがり、お前正気か？
Kagari ignored her and leaned out of the hatch to smile down at Mayuri.
オカリンおじさんは私が何とかしてみせる。だからそこで待ってて。かがりちゃん。鈴葉お姉ちゃん、ハッチを閉めて。いいのか？
Girl, I don't know. I don't know if you have the same power as Mayuri, but okay. I mean, I guess you did when you spoke to him when he was really little. Oh my god, I keep coughing. The hatch started to close. Mayuri was staring up at Kagari in shock.
かがりちゃん。
ママ、私、ママのことずっと愛してる。過去も今も未来でも。
And then the hatch closed. She couldn't see her beloved mother anymore. She wiped away the tears, sat down in the passenger seat, and strapped herself in. Suzuha sat in the main seat and grinned.
まさかもう一度お前と乗ることになるとは思わなかった。
一番最初に戻っただけだよ。
最初とは大違いだ。あの時のお前はピーピー泣いてた。
鈴葉お姉ちゃんだってちょっぴり泣いてたくせに。
そうだな。行くよ、かがり。過去へ。
Suzuha tapped at the console, and the whole seat started to shake. At the same time, a pale light began to shine from within the machine. The time travel was beginning. There was no guarantee it would work. She might never see Mayuri again, but she swore that she would make this succeed. As the daughter of Mayuri Shina. No matter how far apart they were, that song would connect them together. We did it! I was not expecting that. Wait! Hold on, you know what? That makes sense. Freaking Yuki also plays Suzuha. It's the same voice actress. I thought she sounded a little familiar. Where's my... I didn't realize that the first time. Let me just... I gotta fix my, my AC is bugging the cat. Let me just do that while the credits play. Alright. I think we're good. I moved my AC like right before I started streaming, being like, ah yeah, this feels great! Without thinking that it's like directly pointed at Squeak's cat tree. And I think she's pissed. Okay, I moved it back now. Squeak, do you want to tell the people why you aren't eating your food but want to eat Molly's? Because I would like to know. This is like the Suzuha ending in Steins Gate, an uncertain future / past, but this time it's not that hopeful for me. Yeah, I can see that. It's definitely less hopeful, but like there's still a little bit. It was good. Not what I was expecting at all, but interesting. I enjoyed the premise. Even that little bit at the end there. The premise of Mayuri going back in the time machine was, unexpected. Ooh, new wallpaper setting. Yippee! I imagine most of the endings are all gonna be pretty short, if I'm honest. With the I would assume the true ending will be longer, but alright, speaking of, Let's see. The previous one was pretty long. That's true. I would assume that's because of Kurisu, but hard to say. Ignore the phone call from Amadeus. I want to say I turned my phone off. So I'll try Orbital Eclipse. Let's see. Theoretically, I would like to try... It's this. It's got... Yeah, it's definitely this. I want to try for Maho's next.
Hmm?
So I gotta ignore the phone call from Amadeus. Just as I was about to put my phone back in my pocket, it rang again. If this doesn't work, then I'll have to go back further, but I feel like at the shrine I turned my phone off, so we'll see. At first I thought that Maho might have forgotten to tell me something, but when I saw the screen, I gasped.
これは
Yes, he did, yeah.
から
So I think we should be good. I stared at the screen, unable to answer. I don't know if there's like a specific order I should be doing these in that will like make more sense. I'm winging it. So, I don't know. The phone kept ringing. What was the meaning of this? Why would Amadeus, who'd been taken over, be calling me? Was this some kind of trap? What should I do? Answer it? Or... I hesitated a moment and the call from Amadeus ended. My phone fell silent. Yo, hold that thought. Because... we got... allegedly a new wallpaper? Oh, that's cute! That's a good one. Okay. So far this is the... You know what, actually, let's put this one on. I think that this is the Kurisu ending wallpaper, and now this is the, Kagari. Because that's the keychain she gets from her mom. That's cute. I don't know how I feel. At this point, why didn't you just put all of the icons up top? But sure, okay. Whatever, man. I question it. I like the fact that they changed the placement of the icons per wallpaper, but like, what is that choice, bro? Weird.
何が起こって
And right after that, I suddenly felt incredibly dizzy and everything went black.
これは
Let's go! What? Huh? Okay. Nothing could have prepared me for that. But sure. Love. Sure.
クリスと私
Okay.
その2つは私にとって特別な意味を持った対応だった
I'm so sorry, Maho. You just... The Mozart jump scare kinda got me.
ボルフガング・アマデウス・モーツァルト
I gotta let her cook. But like... Why is he looking at me?
誰もが知っていて誰もが認める天才音楽家だ正式な名前はヨハンネス・クリゾストムス・ボルフガング・テオフィールス・モーツァルトテオフィールスはギリシャ語で神に愛されたという意味モーツァルトはその言葉を気に入り同じ意味のラテン語アマデウスを通称にしたのだという彼は35年というその才能に対して悲劇的に短い生涯の中で600曲以上の傑作を後世に残した
Neo Man, it absolutely is, like... actually insane. Out of all the things, I would not have expected that, but I'm a let her cook. Just, you know, it's a good sequence. It'll wake you up.
アマデウスは文字通
Oh,
り
it's
神に
funny.
愛され、天賦の才を与えられた
I understand that
特
bro
別
is
な存
important
在だ
here,
ったのだろうか。
but like, so funny.
私
Like, they
は
could have just did it with a black screen, too. Like, they didn't need to put the paintings. So, it's... Honestly, I'm glad they did. But it's very funny.
確かに彼は天才だった。けれど、アマデウスにはアマデウスなりの努力と苦労があったに違いない。どんなに素晴らしい原石を持って生まれたところで、磨き上げなければ宝石にはならない。彼の功績を天賦の才によるものと片付けてしまっては、その努力と苦労に対して失礼だ。しかし、それは同時にモーツァルトになるためには彼と同等の原石を持って生まれなければならないということではないだろうか。この世界にはそういう原石を持っている人がたくさんいる。マキセ・クリス、私にとってマキセ・クリスがそういう人物だった。彼女の佇まいを見れば彼女の才能を感じることができた。彼女の中から溢れ出るアイディアの数々にいつも刺激をもらっていた。彼女と共に研究ができることが私には誇らしかった。けれど彼女にとって私がどういう存在だったのか私は知らない。改まって聞くのも気恥ずかしかった。いつか何かのついでに聞ければいいなと思っていた。
Oh.
けれど2010年7月28日、マキセ・クリスはこの世を去った。彼女にとって私がどういう存在だったのか、それを知る機会は永久に失われた。ボルフガング・アマデウス・モーツァルト。
They gotta stop hitting me with that painting after saying something depressing.
生前彼を終生のライバルだと考えていた人物が彼のすぐそばで生きていた。その人物の名はアントニオ・サリエリ。ビクトル・コンドリア大学の学内ネットワークでの私のアカウント名サリエリは彼の名から取っている。クリスが亡くなった数週間後、研究所のネットワークシステムが更新され、その時につけた名前だ。生前クリスと共に開発し、今なお研究を続けているソフトウェアの名に対応させたかった。それ以上の意味はない。そのソフトウェアの名前はアマデウス。このニューラルネットワーク型人工知能に天才作曲家の名前を与えたのはレスキネン教授だ。当時私はそのネーミングをとてもいいアイデアだと思ったはずだし、今でもそう思っている。そう思っている。
It's a good name.
アマデウスとサリエリ、クリスと私、その二つは私にとって特別な意味を持った対応だった。私はマキセ・クリスが大好きだった。
Yo, do we have Yuri?
私はクリスを尊敬していた。
Can this too be Yuri?
私はクリスに憧れていた。
In my heart, maybe.
私は
Alright, where are we? The sense of dizziness that I'd experienced so many times before slowly faded. I was standing in the middle of the room, holding my phone. There was no question that was reading Steiner. The word line had changed. But why? What was the cause? Was it that message from Amadeus? No, I could worry about the cause later. For now, I needed to know what was going on. I looked around the lab. The place hadn't seemed to change much, but several people were missing. The missing ones were Kaede, Fubuki, and Ferris. Daru was sitting in front of his PC like always. That tracks. And Mayuri was in the kitchen making instant coffee. I was so scared for like a split second. At least it's just coffee. She handed the steaming hot coffee to Maho, who was sitting on the sofa.
真帆さん、はいコーヒー。飲むと落ち着くよ。
ありがとう。いただくわ。
Maho. Maho was here at the lab? Before the world line changed, she should have been at her office in Wako City.
よく考えたら、今朝から何も口にしていなかったわ。
あんなことがあったんだから無理もないよ。何か食べる？唐揚げとかバナナとかお菓子ぐらいしかないけど。それともお弁当を買ってこようかな。あ、ピザを取るのもいいかも。
ありがとう。でも大丈夫。そこまでお腹は空いていないから。それに、あんなことがあった以上、ホテルを変えないと。手続きが必要だろうから、しばらくしたら戻るわ。
Is this when her hotel was broken into? Is that what they're talking
今日は
about?
休むべきじゃね？顔色も良くないし、なんならラボに泊まっていけばいいよ。ちょうど鈴葉もいないし、今なら貸し切りなけん。
I listened for a while, but all I learned was that something bad had happened to Maho, and she was staying here for a while. Did it have something to do with Amadeus being taken over?
ヒア城さん、一体何があった？
Oh, I know. The difference in, like, especially that one where all of a sudden we get thrown back into, like, World Line A, where Kurisu is alive. Like, that one was wild. Like, I can't even remember what set that off, or if we actually know what did, or who. But, yeah, it's very weird. Like, it's gotta be extremely weird for Okabe, but even definitely as a player as well, just being like... Some of them, you know, can work out when you're figuring out the endings, I guess. You know, whether you turn your phone off or ignore a phone call, but some of them, it's like... What sent us there? Did we do that? Did someone else do that? Like... Yeah, it's weird. Definitely a contrast. Maho, Daru, and Mayuri all seem stunned at the question.
何がって？
いや、状況を整理したくてな。
That's definitely what it feels like, that someone else is... Like, that it's not just him this time.
アマデウスはどうなった？接続は回復したのか？
I tried asking, but Maho just frowned, as if she didn't know how to answer. Did that mean that Amadeus wasn't taken over in this world line? Well, she's on my phone, so... Yo, speak of the devil. Almost. Oh, come on, Okabe. There's nobody in the Wako City office right now. For real. What does that mean? I didn't mean to hit quick save.
萌えか
Why would she be sending me a Rhine? Actually, this is really funny. I know before chat has told me that Rhine was based on Line, I guess, is what it is, like the Japanese messaging service that they used during the time. But literally today, like, I've been watching Dino Ace, which is a sports anime. But literally in today's episode, someone asked for a Line address, and I was like, oh, I turned into that one pointing meme where I was like, Steins Gate has taught me, I know what that is. I just thought it was very funny. I was like, I understand.
So,
Put one and one together. Made me laugh a little bit. Probably more than it should have. I screamed when I realized that Moeka was right behind me. Understandable, bro. I would too. It is the will of Steins Gate. Yes. It was funny because the character didn't even have Line because he didn't have a smartphone, but so the dude had to give an email address, but it still made me chuckle. I was like, I understand. Thank you, Steins Gate. It's all coming together. I've been behind you the whole time. Oh, sure, I may not stand out much, but seeing you look like you just ran into a ghost kind of hurts, you know? Damn.
ずっといたのか
That's messed up. I'm so sorry, Moeka.
いた。
Did that mean I told Moeka she could come into the lab? What was going on here?
無人ってどういうことだ
Interesting. She was probably talking about the Brain Science Institute's office in Wako City. No one was there?
閉鎖してるから。
閉鎖
Moeka's fingers raced over the phone. Oh, I just explained this. There was a gas leak at the lab yesterday. Oh. The facility's been locked down until they determine the cause. Dr. Hyajo and Professor Leshkinen have moved their lab to Tokyo Denki University in the meantime.
ガス漏れ事故
Okie dokie, never mind. It was not the break-in. It was okay. Fair enough. I didn't remember that. The world line change must have altered the past. As it does. Sometimes.
それでヒアジョーさんはここに
言ったでしょ。それもあるけど、今朝ホテルの部屋が荒らされたって。
Never mind. I was still spitting. I was on to something. Okay.
それでやむなく桐生さん経由で岡部さんに
Was
連
a
絡を取った
was a
の。
mix of both.
忘れたの？
よく無事だったな泥棒とは出くわさなかったのか
ええ、運が良かったわ。桐生さんのおかげとも言えるわね。不幸中の幸い。
So that's how. I kind of understood how Maho had arrived here.
ところでかがりはどうしてる
Daru looked at me again, confused. Kagari just not real? But Mayuri smiled.
今頃岩手かな。家族の人に会えてるといいね。
Ah! Iwate? Why Iwate? Where did that come from?
家族の人が見つかったのか
それでルカ君とルカ君のお父さんとあとすずさんと4人で会 いに行ってるの。
So, like, does she have parents now?
鈴葉がついてるから大丈夫っしょ。
家族。岩手。
Things had changed more than I'd imagined. If Kagari was in Iwate, that meant that we hadn't been attacked last night, too. So instead of attacking Kagari, they hit Maho's hotel room. This was getting confusing. Welcome to my life of playing this game. I knew it would make her think I was a weirdo, but I had Maho explain to me what happened once more. From what she said, most of yesterday hadn't changed much. Maho, Daru, Fubuki, Kaede, Nae, and I had all gone to Yanabayashi Shrine. Okay. They're adorable. Lukaku, Mayuri, Kagari, Suzuha, and Ferris were all helping at the shrine in their priestess outfits. That fit with what I remembered. After that, we went to Lukaku's house and had a small New Year's party. And then Lukaku's father shared some surprising news with us. He'd found out that someone who might be a relative of Kagari's lived in Iwate. Everyone was excited because if they found a relative, it might be the key to getting Kagari's memories back. So early this morning, Lukaku and Suzuha went with them to Iwate. Meanwhile, Maho had gotten a call from Dr. Leshkinin on her way back from the party. That's when he told her about the gas leak at the office in Wako City. One of the pipes on another floor had some sort of problem, and a small amount of poisonous gas had leaked out into the air. They didn't know what the cause was right now. Until they knew the cause, they decided to shut down the office for safety reasons. Depending on what they found, it could take anywhere from a week to a month to resolve the issue. Maho had a lot of work to do because of the office closure, and she was out working until morning. Then she went back to the hotel and slept until she was woken up by a call around 10 a.m.
桐生様という方がロビーでお待ちです。
そっか、今日は雑誌の取材があるんだったわ。でも着いたらスマホに連絡くれるはずじゃ。バッテリーが切れてる。昨日の騒動のせいでホテルに戻ってから充電するの忘れてたわ。
She'd fallen asleep without even changing her clothes. She rubbed her sleepy eyes and left the room, wearing the same outfit she'd had on last night. She'd grabbed her bag, which held a bunch of her documents and her computer, since she thought she'd need it for the interview. In the end, that was what saved her.
それでロビーに桐生さんを迎えに行って、そこで少し話してから2人でまた部屋に戻ったの。
There were so many people in the lobby that I didn't think I could conduct a good interview. Fair? I could see how that would be upsetting for her.
そして部屋に入ったら、たった数分の間に空き巣が入り込んで部屋中を荒らし回った後だった。ご丁寧にベッドも枕もナイフで裂かれてて、部屋が綿まみれになってたわ。
They work fast.
ダメね、私。気が動転しちゃって何もできなかった。
Afterward, I called the front desk and then the police. After the police got done with their questioning, Dr. Hiajo still hadn't calmed down, so I decided to message you and have her arrested at the lab.
何か盗まれたものは？
Look at Kiryu, doing good shit. Proud of her. We've come such a long way.
何も取られていなかったわ。
I didn't think it was possible.
財布もバッグに入れてあったし。
Maybe I'm warming up to her now that she's not killing Mayuri all the time. That's, you know, that's cool.
部屋を開けている時間。
Maybe she's okay.
短かったから。ええ。それで空き巣も長居できなかったのかもしれないわね。
ヒアジョーさんならまず狙われるのはお金とかよりも 研究データとかじゃないか？
それも大丈夫。データや資料は全部大学のサーバーに入ってて、パソコンの中には何も残らないようにしてあるの。
あれは
あれって？
例のノートパソコンとハードディスク。
I didn't need to tell her that I was talking about the ones that had belonged to Karisu.
大丈夫。
Maho pointed to the bag sitting beside the sofa.
それもバッグに入れっぱなしだったから。
そうか。
それにあれは仮に盗まれたところでパスワードがわからない限り中身を取り出すのは不可能よ。
Not killing your best friend works wonders, right? Yeah, you know, not killing in general, also a bonus. Like,
アキスの狙いは何だ？
she's having a bit of a redemption arc. Imagine if this had been a world line where Rintaro wasn't supposed to have been aware of the laptop and the hard drive. Man.
産業スパイの類なら PC とか書類とかでしょうね。
This cat is still meowing at me.
オフィスのガス漏れの件は関係していると思うか？
I wonder if there could be a world line like that, where he doesn't know about the laptop and hard drive. I suppose there probably is one. Gotta go have some sleep while I upload the VOD. I will. Do not fear. It will be uploaded.
さあ、どうかしら。
And hopefully the recordings are helping it not get muted. So we're trying. Maho's smartphone rang. It was plugged in at the corner of the room charging. Take it easy, Marlon. Evidently, it was charged enough to turn back on. God, that's an annoying ringtone. Oh my god, please. Girl, answer it! Maho put her coffee cup on the table and stood up. Moeka looked at her. Please save me! Oh my god! She hates me!
ええ、ありがとう。
The panic where I'm like, at this point, can I do it? Can I answer it? Maho took the phone from the charger and looked at it. But she quickly glanced back at
ク
me.
リスからだわ。
Oh. Karisu. Did that mean that Amadeus hadn't been taken over? I mean, to be fair, I too don't like answering my phone, but like, put that shit on silent! Not the Wokia. Maho answered the call, turning the phone so I could see it.
先輩、大丈夫ですか？怪我とかしてません？乱暴なこととかされませんでしたか？
Feels like it's been forever since we've seen Amadeus Kurisu.
岡部？なんであんたが先輩と一緒にいるの？
We're finding that out. We're chilling.
もしかしてあんたと先輩ってもうそんな仲なの？
そんなんじゃないわ、クリス。今ラボにいるのよ。
よかった。無事なんですね。
ええ、だから落ち着きなさい。
落ち着いていられるわけないでしょ。何回コールかけても繋がらなかったんですよ。ネットを検索したらホテルで空き巣があったみたいだし、それが先輩の部屋みたいだったし、とにかく心配したんです。
オーケー、わかった。謝るわ。ごめんなさい。ありがとう、クリス。私は無事よ。空き巣に入られたのは本当だけど、鉢合わせはしなかった。今はここで休憩させてもらってる。スマホは充電を忘れて電源が落ちてたの。心配させたわね。
いえ、何も起きていないならいいんです。
Risu didn't seem to have changed at all. Maho explained the events of yesterday to her the same way she just explained them to me.
というわけで特に盗まれたものはなかったのよ。
Risu seemed to be lost in thought.
どうかした？
やっぱり犯人の狙いは研究データとかだったんでしょうか。
でもさ、犯人ってかなり詳しくマホタンのこと調べてるじゃん。泊まってるホテルの部屋も把握してたし、マホタンが部屋を出たと同時に侵入したわけだし。
Daru's out here cooking?
それなのに
I'm
ホテルに
impressed.
研究データを置いてないことを知らないなんてありえる？
となるとヒアジョーさんがバッグに入れていたノートパソコンを取るつもりだったかもしれないな。
でもそれの存在って知っているのは先輩と私と岡部だけのはずよ。
あと僕も。
なるほど。俺か誰のどちらかが犯人じゃない限りノートパソコンを狙った物取りである可能性はないか。
もう一つ可能性があるとすれば、
Risu put her finger to her temple.
私の制御コードかもしれない。
制御コード？それって管理者パスワードみたいなもの？
Daru's decently smart. He's also just Daru, focusing more on his games when he doesn't lock in. True. Sometimes bro is just... I think especially in this one as well, since... It's like a fine line where a lot of the times he's spending it like being kind of weird, pervy with Suzuha, and it's like, bro, I'm gonna smack you. That, you know, he was doing that in the first game too, to an extent, but it feels like they kind of upped it a bit more in this one. But then you see him when he's older and you're like, damn dude, you did lock in. So it's like, I know it's there. I know he can do it. But sometimes his kind of weird comic relief makes me forget. I say comic relief loosely. It ain't for me. I have to get the spray bottle.
岡部には前に説明したわよね。アマデウスのシステムの中には私だけがアクセスできる記憶領域があるの。
ああ、秘密の日記のようなものだと
When
言
he
っている
pops
な。
off, though, he does pop off. I'll give him that.
そう。内部外部を問わず、私に関するアクセスは常にその秘密の日記の中にログが残る。もし誰かが私の意思を奪って自由に制御するためにシステムを改造したとする。でも秘密の日記の中まではいじれないから、私は両者を比較して改造が行われたことを突き止め、元に戻せるわけ。
ああ、把握した。その秘密の日記を開ける鍵が制御コードなのか。
そういうこと。アマデウスのシステムやデータの管理責任者はレスキネン教授だけど、制御コードを知っているのはこの世界でただ一人。真帆先輩だけなの。
そうなのか。
ええ、クリスの言う通りよ。
Well,
仮に
there's
その
a
空き巣が
there's a
私の
motive.
研究成果を狙っていたのだとしたら、手に入れられるのはそれくらいね。
それは盗まれていないのか。
大丈夫よ。ね、先輩。
ええ。制御コードはどこにもメモなんかしてない。
Maho points to her temple, just as Kurisu had done.
私の頭の中にしかないから。
That seemed like a dangerous way to keep them stored, honestly. If the thief found that out, they'd come after Maho herself next.
しかし参ったわね。 そうか、制御コードを狙ってるかもしれないのね。日本をすぐに離れるわけにはいかないけど、また襲われるのは避けたいわ。とはいえ、どうしたものかしら。
落ち着くまでラボにいるといいよ。それともマユシーのお家に来る？
ありがとう、まゆりさん。でもそこまで厄介にはなれないわ。
It hadn't happened in this world line, but I still found myself remembering the attack on Kagari. Neither Mayuri's house nor the lab seemed safe.
それで
So we're giving her to Ferris! Yeah! No, that's smart.
あ
An hour later, we'd all gone to Ferris's
あ、
condo.
みんなで散々相談したんだが、フェイリスのマンションに数日滞在させてもらうのが最善なんじゃないかって。
なんと言ったらいいか。
Maho seemed hesitant, but Ferris crossed her arms and nodded, satisfied.
その結論は間違ってないにゃ。確かにこのマンションは万全のセキュリティで守られているから安全にゃ。それに黒木もいるし。
Exactly. Maho might lose her mind, but she'll be safe.
黒木？さっき玄関で会った羊さんだよ。本物の羊さんなんだよ。
ああ、でもそれがどうしたの？
黒木さんは最強羊なんだ。
は？
I'll pass on explaining any more than that. Honestly, I don't know the details myself. I didn't think it was a good idea to ask him either. He's just an amazing guy, that's all.
フェリスは全く問題なしにゃ。奥の客間を使うといいにゃ。数日と言わずマフニャンが日本に滞在している間はずっと泊まっていけばいいにゃ。
マホニャン？
Mahonian.
キリュウさん、何？
取材、
She's still looking for an interview?
私、ヒヤジョ博士に取材を
I guess.
しないと。
ああ、そうだったわ。今日は本来それをする予定だったのよね。日を改めて喫茶店かどこかで。
ひらめいたにゃ。
え？
萌えにゃんも一緒にお泊まりすればいいにゃ。
Why?
客間は2人でも十分泊まれる広さがあるにゃし、女の子がもう1人いればマフニャンも安心にゃ。
I mean... Is Moeko okay with that?
それはそうかもしれないけど。
萌えにゃん、どうかにゃ。
萌えにゃ。
待てフェイリス、それは。
I was about to say that it was dangerous. Moeka Kiryu could be around her. At least, I still didn't trust her. But
それいいんじゃね？
you would.
桐生氏って裏稼業に片足突っ込んでる関係で護身術も身につけてるって言ってたじゃん。でしょ？
You know, alright. Fair.
一応。
僕やオカリンなんかよりよっぽど強いってことだ。
だが
The bar is low there, bro! The bar is so low!
どうにゃ、萌えにゃん。
構わない。
The bar is lower than the floor!
決まりにゃん。
2人もいたらお邪魔じゃないかしら。
全然気にしなくていいにゃ。フェイリスは一人っ子だったからお姉さんと妹ちゃんが増えたみたいで嬉しいにゃ。
私は成人してるわよ。
Ferris is just cooking up a slumber party. In the end, my opposition to it was completely ignored. The next day was the last day of New Year's break. I came to Akihabara for the third day in a row. I wanted to visit Ferris's condo and check on Maho.
いや、違うか。桐生萌香の様子を確認するためだな。
Maho and Moeka had ended up staying together yesterday, without anyone really thinking about it. Moeka would get to interview Maho, and Maho would feel better having someone around, so this was probably the best option. I mean, Daru's a big guy, need a lot of strength just to move that bulk around casually. Might not have the stamina for more than 1 or 2 punches, but he likely hits like a freight train for those 2 punches. I mean, I just know that, like, between the two of them, every time that anything, like, remotely exercising has come up, they're just failing. You know, like, when they're on the bicycles, Daru is, like, dying. Okabe only gets good at it because he did that one loop so many times that he knew how to handle it and, like, how to manage his stamina. But he always talks about, you know, how Mayuri can outrun him easily because she's, like, freakishly fast for whatever reason. But yeah, they gotta put in a little work. But it's okay, because to be fair, Daru does lose some of the weight, and he definitely seems like he builds some muscle when you see him in the future. So I'll give him that. His glow up is very good. Bro definitely looks strong in that one. But currently, they need to do a little something. But I knew something about Moeka that no one else did. Yeah. God, it's been so long since we've seen her like this. Who's around her? And to be fair, Okabe was only able to... I don't even want to say beat Kiryu, or beat Moeka in that fight. Because Moeka was, like, in her suicidal, like, we don't know how much, like, probably wasn't eating, probably wasn't sleeping, like, she was a wreck. So that's kinda not, you know. In her prime, she'd be kicking ass. And killing people, which we don't condone. We don't like that, Moeka. But, you know, I'll give her that. But who would she try to kill? Hopefully no one! This time. In this world line, I wasn't looking for the IBN 5100 or making a time machine. The Rounders were probably ignoring us. Even on the last day of vacation, Akihabara was as lively as ever. Hours were shorter than usual, but everywhere from the appliance stores to the maid cafes were still open. I want to believe that Moeka is okay this time. But I appreciate that he's still worried about it. In fact, there were lucky bags and special New Year's sales that you could only get today, and some customers had come for those. The sidewalks were filled with girls in dazzling kimonos who'd come from the nearby shrine, as well as the usual Akihabara otaku. The place was even more chaotic than usual.
そういえば、メイクインも正月休まず営業中なんだよな。
Ferris and Mayuri both said that they were working there today.
じゃあ、マンションにはあの二人しかいないのか。
Hiroki should be there too, I guess.
大丈夫だよな。
Hell, if she's around her in this world line, as long as Maho isn't her target, that's even more reason to have her around. Might be able to defend from an attack if whoever is after Maho isn't them. True, it's kind of the same reasoning as Tennoji, right? I guess it's just the fact. I think it's just the fact that specifically she killed Mayuri that has him so concerned. But yeah, no, you're completely right. Because, you know, Okabe does go to Tennoji and is like, hey, I know you're FP, but I need you, type thing. And then they, he gets him to help look after and keep Kagari safe, so it would make sense just to do the same thing, but for Maho. It was hard to imagine Moeka doing anything to Maho, like for example attacking her. Moeka had no reason to do that. Hopefully! But even if I knew that in my head, it didn't make controlling my emotions any easier. That's valid. It had bugged me enough last night that I'd barely been able to sleep. If I saw the two of them living together without any kind of problem, maybe I'd feel better. I hurried to Ferris's condo.
ようこそおいでくださいました、岡部様。
Hiroki the butler welcomed me. He was the ultimate butler, who'd taken care of Ferris after her parents died and left her all alone. He still helped her in her work and was one of the few people that she trusted completely.
申し訳ありません。お嬢様は外出しております。
あ、はい、分かってます。ヒア城さんに会いに来たんですが。
お二人は客間にいらっしゃいます。どうぞお上がりください。
ありがとうございます。
それでは私はこれで。
Hiroki spun around 180 degrees with the same trained and effortless movement as always, then went to take the shortest path back to his room.
おっと。
That's true. That is a very good point, actually. I'd almost forgotten about that. Bro is doing very well. I suppose not too many months have passed, but then again, time doesn't really matter with PTSD most of the time, but yeah, even if it is distrustingly, he is doing way better with interacting with her. I assume it's because he's like locking in more on stuff that he needs to do. Perhaps, but either way it's good. He must have tripped because he staggered slightly and stopped.
失礼いたしました。私としたことが。
Hiroki, no.
ですか。
疲れているのかもしれません。お恥ずかしいところをお見せしました。
あ、いえ。
少し休めば問題ありません。失礼いたします。
His expression didn't change, but the tone of Kuroki's voice was slightly embarrassed as he headed for his room.
珍しいものを見たな。どんな時でも冷静沈着なロボットみたいな人が来客の前でよろめくなんて。疲れてると言っていたけど、何か心労の種でもあるのかな。
No. For now I need to worry about Maho.
ヒア城さん、いるか。
岡部さん、入ってちょうだい。
なんだこれは。
I was stunned as I came into the room. It was definitely the same guest room I've been in several times before, probably. But everything about it had changed. Yeah, that tracks. Maho been here. First, the bed was gone and had been replaced by a big desk and a low Japanese table. Maho was sitting at the desk, glaring at the 16-inch laptop as she sipped coffee from a mug. How did she do this so fast? There was a small laptop on the low table and Moeka was kneeling directly on the carpet in front of it, legs splayed, tapping away at the keyboard. Oh god! It's both of them! Isn't it? Yeah, that's... Kuroki's probably stressed out at how dirty it is in here. That's really funny. Behind them was a sealed bookshelf, and I could see English language journals and fashion magazines sticking out of it. Until yesterday, this had been a guest room. In less than a day, it had been transformed into Maho and Moeka's workspace. That's so cursed. Maho put down the coffee cup without looking away from the screen, which was filled with complicated and constantly changing 3D graphs. Moeka tapped at the keys silently, without ever bothering to look at me. I did not consider this. Oh god. I quickly covered my mouth with my hand, but the two of them were so engrossed in their work. They didn't respond at all. Once she hit a stopping point, Maho spun around in her chair to face me. She didn't seem to think anything was out of the ordinary. Okabe regretting everything right now.
それはいいが、この部屋の惨状を説明してくれないか。
惨状？なかなか居心地のいい環境だと思うんだけど。
Oh my god.
昨日はこんなに散らかってなかったぞ。
Maho seemed confused for a moment, but finally seemed to understand what I was saying.
出歩くのが危険なんだったら、ここで研究をするしかないでしょ？仕事をしやすいように模様替えしたのよ。
I reorganized. Okay, sure. Uh-huh.
模様替え?
Alright. This went far beyond what I'd call reorganization. Neither Daru nor I were very good at cleaning, but we weren't this bad.
これ全部自分たちで用意したのか?
そうよ。桐生さんもここで記事を書くっていうから、二人で必要な家具や資料を洗い出したの。
Man.
この短時間で机や本棚はどこから持ってきたんだ?
I can write articles anywhere, but I'm a bodyguard, so I need to stay by Dr. Hiajo's side. You're so far behind the times, Okabe. Damn! You can get most anything off the net in a day these days. I asked Dr. Hiajo what she wanted and ordered it off the net. It's cooking.
俺はてっきり。
てっきり何？
あ、いや、なんでもない。
I thought the world line had changed, and I hadn't realized it. But evidently, I'd been worried over nothing.
机や棚の組み立ても二人でやったのか?
I want to know what they did with the bed! And everything that was supposed to be in here.
執事の方にお願いしたわ。あの人すごいわね。
Poor Kuroki.
わあ、だから黒木さん疲れてたのか。
That explained a lot, but just hearing all of this had exhausted me. I found a place to sit down and... I caught my foot on something. I looked down to see a thick book, its pages open.
これは?
それはまた後で見るから避けて通って。ページをめくらないように注意してね。
Oh my god, get a bookmark!
後って?
Crazy.
概算だけど19時間後くらいかしら。
How does she know that?
本棚があるんだから読まない間はしまっておけばいいんじゃないか。
すぐに再読するつもりの本をいちいち本棚に戻すなんて非合理的よ。科学者の取るべきアプローチではないわ。
そういう問題か。
I looked at the floor and saw 4 other books, open books. That wasn't all. The carpet was strewn with papers, and used cups of instant ramen, bath towels, handkerchiefs, and other things. Their old clothes were lying out too. I saw a skirt, a t-shirt, a blouse, socks, tights, and other items of clothing. It was a lot like when I'd visit Moeka's house in the other world line before all of this. Evidently, neither Moeka nor Maho were the type to worry about keeping things clean. That's really funny. I thought that her place was all messed up because of her being suicidal, but I guess she's just a slob. An interesting idea. Rintaro seems to specifically consider the sense of vertigo to be reading sign or activating, rather than the retaining of memories across world lines. If he's asleep when world lines change, would the vertigo trigger? That is a good idea. I would think? Because, I mean... I know you can, like... Obviously, you can have vertigo when you're laying down. Or you can still experience it when you're laying down. So I don't see why it wouldn't. Like, maybe wake him up? Or I suppose it depends on how deep of a sleeper he is. Or, to be fair, it could kind of do the, I don't know, I know sometimes when I'm, like, really tired, or, like, almost asleep, I don't even know, it feels weird now saying it out loud, but I'll have, like, I'll be laying down in bed, and I'll be, like, almost asleep, and then all of a sudden I'll think that I'll fall, but I'm, like, in bed. So it could be something like that. It's normal? Thank you! I know it's normal, but like saying it out loud, it's like, yeah, you know, sometimes you're like almost asleep and then you just suddenly feel like you're falling. I'm glad it's normal, but like, why does that happen? Could someone explain that? Or like if one of him was asleep and the other was in the middle of a war world line where he's been trained to fly a helicopter or whatever. I wonder if that would ever happen. Or if, like... if that's one thing that has to, like, come to convergence, is him... his body always being hidden for the majority of the war, so that everyone thinks he's dead. But then again, I suppose in infinite timelines, maybe. I suppose the possibilities could be endless, slightly, but... maybe not with, like, convergence and everything, how some things are always meant to happen. I don't know how much that has to be. I don't know, it's an interesting thing to think about. Not necessarily war, but something like that, where you go from sleeping to a highly involved action would oh, yeah! No, okay, yeah, no, I get what you mean. Yeah, as opposed to just kinda, like, waking up in the lab. Suddenly you're just, like, randomly driving a truck or something. Even that would be low-key horrifying. suppose in a way that could be kind of like when you're driving and you're kind of like not paying attention, like you are but you aren't, and you're like, wait a minute, where am I? Or is that might just be me? I'm like, oh, I haven't hit that turn yet, okay. Don't let me drive. Anywho, there was enough space around the low table to move, but there was enough junk around where Moeka was sitting that it would be impossible to sit next to her.
本や書類以外のものは横にどかしてもいいかな。
どうぞ。
I fall asleep when I drive, so Andrew drives everywhere. That's low-key terrifying! My god. I get sleepy if I'm like in the passenger side or if I'm in like the back seat. Not that I can actually fall asleep in the car, but like my eyes will be closing. But not if I'm actually driving. Sometimes, I don't know, it's like, especially when I'm driving home from the cottages, I'll be like, I think I'm just so like locked in where it's like I've drove this one road so many times where sometimes I'm like, have I done this yet? No? Oh. She has to drive home from work every day? Low-key terrifying. Man. Oh. Godspeed. Godspeed, soldier! Since they'd given their permission, I leaned over to pick up a pink towel. It wasn't a towel. It was a pink bra. Okabe, those are very different things. There, buddy. My brain utterly failed to process this new development, and I froze with my hand still holding it high in the air. I don't think that's true. Moeka was looking up at me blankly. He's never had a girlfriend before? No! No, he hasn't. And she's dead currently. We're working on that. I miss her. Dude, every time she puts her phone up like that, I think she's like gonna take a picture. Okabe, that's mine. You can't just go touching a girl's underwear. I screamed and threw the bra away. Iconic. Moeka glanced downwards. Her cheeks were slightly flushed. Her hands quickly moved to cover her chest. Bro's having a bad day all of a sudden. I tried as best as I could to get it out of my mind, then found a space in the corner that was still relatively clean and sat down. There was a round pink fridge in the corner with plastic cups on top. It's so convenient having a fridge at work. That's smart. You don't have to leave to go get drinks, so the only time you have to leave the room is to go to the bathroom. Man! You can't just say that! But like, you're right!
主観の相違よ。むしろ知的生産活動に最適化された生活空間と言ってほしいわね。
The fact that Amadeus is so intent on getting Rintaro and Maho together, given what happens with her in the other world line, is always hilarious. I like to imagine at some point in Steins Gate world line it ends up with the two of them and Maho in some kind of throuple situation eventually. That'd be pretty good. It looked like I'd been worried over nothing after all. If nothing else, Moeka didn't seem to feel any animosity towards Maho, and Maho seemed to be enjoying the company. The thought of the two of them picking out furniture together honestly seemed kinda cute. I was glad I came to check on things. I'd be able to sleep just fine tonight. With my task completed, I could have just left, but I decided to stay and watch the two of them a while longer. He'll sleep, but he'll also be a little bit scarred.
じゃあ桐生さん、そろそろ取材を始めましょうか。
分かった。
Moika closed the laptop and moved it to the side, then started to go through her bag.
取材って具体的に何をするんだ？
インタビューよ。
インタビュー？
本当なら昨日ホテルで取材を受ける予定だったの。
Before everything went to shit. I'm working on a special article for a business magazine at Arc Rewrite. The special is on the front lines of artificial intelligence research. I'm supposed to write about Dr. Hiajo, what she's done and what she's working on now. I can find all that from the net, but that doesn't make for a good article, you know? So I thought maybe I could start with a long interview with Dr. Hiajo.
意外と仕事熱心なんだな。
文章を書くのは好きだから。
In the Alpha World line, Moika's job was just a cover to hide her work as a rounder. And even then, she'd been fired for incompetence, as I recalled. But in this world line, she seemed to be a hard worker. Hell yeah, good for her. Was she actually working as a rounder?
私としても
Maybe
こ
not.
んなにお世話をかけているから、せめて桐生さんの仕事に協力できればなって。人工知能研究について多くの人に知ってもらえれば、私にとってもプラスになるし。桐生さん、準備できたかしら？
Moika nodded, and the interview began. Or, it didn't, actually. Do we have to leave?
弱ったわね。桐生さんは口下手だとは思っていたけど、ここまでとは。
ごめんなさい。
Even I could tell that Moika was doing a horrible job. It wasn't even an interview. Instead of asking questions, Moika just sat there with a memo pad and ball pen in her hands, completely unmoving. She looked like she was about to cry. Oh no! Man? Yato, thank you for the follow.
どうしましょうか。
El Psi Congru.
また後日にする？
True!
締め切りがスケジュールギリギリなの。
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of expected Moika to, like, have, I don't know, maybe, I don't know if a script is the right word, but I expected something that, you know, that she'd be, I can't believe I'm gonna say this. I was rooting for you, girl! You were impressing me all of a sudden.
そう。それなら今日中に済ませてしまうべきね。
Like, even if she had to text her the questions, you know? I figured she would have had her interview prepared.
とはいえ、今すぐ桐生さんの口下手がどうにかなるってことはないわよね。
Yeah, honestly, I wish that things would have been slightly different, so I would have played this last year. But even still, because every time they talk about, you know, how he's gonna die in 2025, I'm like, god damn. I'm like, yo, last year did suck. I'm so sorry, Okabe. My bad. Like, that's rough. Well, you know, until we found out the truth, but like, it hits. It's funny.
ごめんなさい。
It's very, it's neat. Moika apologized in a soft, thin voice. She still looked like she could cry in frustration at any moment.
ああ、違うの。誤解しないで。桐生さんを責めているわけじゃないわ。今のは準備なのよ。問題を解決するために検討すべき条件を列挙しているだけ。
問題？
ええ。インタビューを完遂したい。これが問題。条件としては、桐生さんが取材できないのであれば、別のインタビュアーが必要。
But it's her job!
それも、できれば情報工学にそれなりの知識がある人。
Huh?
かつ、今すぐに手伝ってくれる人。あ、
Did I black out? The two of them looked at me at the same time.
もしかして俺のことか？
Oh my god. So Kabe gonna interview her? Okay. Sure.
難易度の低い問題だったわね。
I suppose if Moika just writes everything down.
岡部さん、ちょっとお願いできない？
いや、そんな突然言われても。
岡部さんは条件にぴったりよ。専門も多少近いし、勘どころを抑えた質問をしてくれるんじゃないかしら。何せレスキネン教授に一目惚れされるような潜在的才覚をお持ちのようですから。
買いかぶらないでくれ。どこにでもいる典型的な日本の大学生だよ。
冗談よ。でも適任だと思ってるのは本当。
いや、しかし。
Ask for me too. I can pay a little. An interview, huh? If that would give me an opportunity to observe how they lived and also get me some pay, it wasn't a bad idea. I'd been spending enough time at the lab over the holidays that had been cutting into my work hours. Ah, yes, the job that we've always heard about, but have never seen. And lately, I'd started to dream about going to Victor Condria University, too. The chance to talk to Maho Hiajo, a very talented AI engineer, was invaluable. A lot of people probably would have paid money for it.
わかったわ。俺もヒアジョさんの研究には興味があるしな。俺でよければ協力させてくれ。
ありがとう。そう言ってくれると助かるわ。
ありがとう。
それじゃあ早速始めましょう。桐生さん、記録はどうする？
録音する。
Moika took out a voice recorder and put it on the desk.
私のペースで進めてしまっていいのよね？
いい。自由に喋ってくれて。後で編集する。
俺は何を聞けばいいんだ？一応言っておくと、俺だって人工知能については平均的日本人程度の知識しか持ってないぞ。
そうね。私が思いつくままに喋ってもいいけど、せっかくだからディスカッション形式にしましょうか。その方が話も弾むでしょうし。
You know, I will definitely say, so far, these endings, or routes, I guess, going in very different places than what I thought they would. Especially this one. I have no idea where we're gonna go. But I'm intrigued. I'm just very surprised thus far. The second she said those words, my mind filled with the memories of the past. I miss her.
いいですよ。ディスカッション形式の方が話も弾むでしょうし。
Me too, man.
岡部さん、どうかした？
Understandable.
大丈夫？
Both Maho and Moeka were staring at me, confused.
ディスカッション形式がお気に召さないなら、
いや、そういうわけじゃない。すまない。クリスが君と同じことを言っていたのを思い出したんだ。
クリスがいつ？
彼女が来日した時に ATF でタイムマシンの講義を。
No, she didn't. That happened in another world line. In this world line, Kurisu died before she ever gave that lecture on the time machine or came to the lab.
いや、勘違いかな。腰を折ってすまなかった。気にしないでくれ。
そう？大丈夫ならいいけど。さて、何から始めましょうか。そうね。人工知能の研究はコンピューターの誕生とほぼ同時期からスタートしているの。私たちが作っている人工知能の心臓部はニューラルネットワークという技術をベースにしているのだけど、この技術が提案されたのが1950年頃。世界初のノイマン型コンピューターとされるエニアックが発表されたのが1946年よ。ほぼ同じよね。
Yeah, I'm low-key surprised. Especially with like the sound effects that kind of hit there. I was like, oh, maybe we are gonna need those pills again, actually. But he's pulling through. What do we got here? The electronic numeric integrator and computer. The very first computer built in 1947 in America. It was used to calculate artillery tables, and the mathematician John von Neumann participated in its development. It was used over 17,000 vacuum tubes and was over 1,000 times faster than existing electronic calculators. However, vacuum tubes at the time were very poorly made, and several would break and have to be replaced each day. ENIAC is often called the world's first general-purpose electronic computer, but others, such as the Antonov Berry computer, existed before it did. Thus, it is more precisely described as the first computer that became widely known. First electronic computer. Correcting the game there. There was the computing engine. Yo, coming in with the info. We got von Neumann architecture. A type of computer architecture first proposed in 1946 by mathematician John von Neumann. Almost all modern computers use von Neumann's architecture. Early computers made no distinction between what we would now call an OS and a program, and were composed entirely of physical wiring, greatly limiting their potential. Von Neumann's system was one where not only data, but a program itself could be loaded into hardware memory as needed from an external source and executed.
当時、コンピューターは魔法のような機械だった。
Maho.
一度プログラムさえ組めば、どんなに複雑な計算でも自動的に解いてくれるのだから。まあ、これは今でもそうだけど。だから、当時の研究者は、もっとすごいプログラムを書けば、もっと多くの問題を解いてくれるだろうと考えた。コンピューターが究極的に進化すれば、まるで人間のように知性を持ち、思考するコンピューターが作れるようになるだろうとね。
Feels like it's been a hot minute since we've had like a science time.
けれど、残念ながらそうはならなかった。人間のような包括的な機能を有する人工知能は21世紀に至る今もまだ作られていない。もちろん人工知能学者が何もやってこなかったって話じゃないのよ。むしろ逆。究極の人工知能は完成に至っていないけど、研究の過程で数えきれないほどの成果を情報科学分野にもたらしたわ。例えば画像をスキャンして文字を読み取る OCR 技術。これは人間が文字を認識するメカニズムとも共通点がある。
OCR technology. The technology that allows a computer to read and recognize letters written on paper. While humans can easily read text composed of letters, it is extremely difficult for a machine to do so. At first, it was a problem in pattern recognition, which is a field of AI research, but OCR technology has advanced to a point that it's used in many commercial services. Sorry, correcting myself, the first general-purpose computer was the analytical engine, not the computing engine. Ah.
近いうちにスマホに音声認識システムが搭載されるかもっていう噂があるけど、
Y'all are smarter than me and I respect it.
それも以前は人工知能研究の一環だったの。けれど研究が始まってから60年が経った今も、人間と同じように機能する汎用的な人工知能の開発には世界中の誰も成功していない。アマデウスを除けばね。
どうして誰も成功していないんだ？
ごく簡単に言えば、脳の原理が解明できていないからかしら。
Maho tapped her temple with her index finger.
脳にはまだ未知の部分が多いのよ。なぜたかが1000億個程度の神経細胞で構成された生体コンピューターが驚くべき性能を発揮できるのか。なぜ大量の情報を整理して記録し、かつ瞬時に利用できるのか。なぜ一見すると無関係の事象を組み合わせてひらめくなんてことができるのか。あげればいくらでもあるわ。他にも人間には容易に解けるのにコンピューターに解けない問題とかもあるしね。
そんな問題が？
たくさんあるわよ。それらの問題を一つずつ解明していくのが私たちの研究だとも言えるわね。
いまいちイメージが湧かないな。何か具体例を教えてもらえないか？
そうね。フレーム問題について説明してみましょうか。
I like how Moeka's just sitting there, dude. They're having like this, you know, really intelligent conversation. She's just there, like, saying nothing.
例えば、桐生さんがロボットだとしましょ
Taking
う。
it all in. Oh, wait, never mind. Now, she's like, what do you mean a robot? Moeka had been taking notes, but she suddenly jerked up when her name was said.
私がロボット。正確にはロボットに搭載された人工知能ね。桐生さん、テーブルを使いたいのだけど、レコーダーを少しどかしてもらってもいいかしら。
Moeka moved the voice recorder from the table to the floor. Maho started to rummage through her bag as she did so.
確かこの中に。あ、これこれ。
Saw 50% of CG. Let's go! She took out a small white box, small enough to fit inside her tiny hands. She opened it and extracted the contents. My Oopa! It was an Oopa, the same thing my Yuri collected. Maho handed it to me, so I took it and touched it. It had the texture of an eraser.
昨日まゆりさんがくれたの。可愛いわよね。
Was it really? I never quite understood what girls, particularly my Yuri, would find cute. I returned the Oopa to her. She put it back in the box, closed the lid, and put the box in the center of the table.
今から簡単な実験をしてみるわね。
One of my favorite things about OCR, that's what the old style CAPTCHAs were meant to train. Humans could recognize the warped text far better, which helped give training data for the OCR, which was used for digitizing old books and the like. New style CAPTCHAs that are like all the traffic lights are used for vision training as well. You know, I never really thought about that. But that makes so much sense at why that has changed the way that it has.
岡部さん、桐生さんに命令して、その箱の中にあるウー
This is
パを
interesting.
取り出させてみて。
命令？
そうよ。桐生さんという人工知能が正しく動作するようにプログラムを送信するわけ。
正しく動作するように。
命令はできるだけ簡潔でかつ厳密なものが望ましいわ。例えばこの部屋の中には箱がたくさんある。だけど他のどれでもなくテーブルの上に置かれたこの箱を開けるように指示しなきゃダメ。送れる命令は文章だけ。指をさしてこの箱って示すのは反則よ。桐生さんは岡部さんに言われた命令をそのまま実行してみて。言われたことだけを可能な限り忠実に行うの。いいかしら。
分かった。
では実験開始。岡部さん、命令をどうぞ。
I didn't quite get the point of all this, but I decided to just say the first thing that came into my mind.
テーブルの上にある真っ白な箱を開けて中にあるものを取り出してくれ。
桐生さん、今のが命令よ。テーブルの上にある真っ白な箱を開けて中にあるものを取り出してくれ。言われた通りに行動してみて。可能な限り忠実によ。
Moika's gaze moved from me to the box on the table.
できない。
え、箱を開けるだけだろ。
I pointed to the box in the center of the table, uncertain as to what was going on. Moika just looked back at me, clearly upset. Maho nodded, satisfied.
仕方がないのよ。ほら。
Maho picked the box up and showed me the other side.
なんだこれ。
デア・アルテ・ベルフェルト・ニヒト。神はサイコロを振らない。アインシュタインの言葉よ。
What? A phrase found in a letter written by theoretical physicist Albert Einstein to his good friend, theoretical physicist Max Born, in December of 1926. In English, it translates to God does not play dice. Einstein made great contributions to early quantum theory, but he was skeptical of the field's central idea, that quanta behave in a probabilistic manner. This phrase was intended to express his disagreement with this idea.
これが書いてあったから桐生さんは箱を開けられなかったのよ。そうよね。
そう。
え、そうなのか。なんで。文字が書いてあることと命令に従えないことに何の関係があるんだ。
真っ白じゃないから。
え？
桐生さん、あなたは正しいわ。岡部さんの命令は真っ白な箱を開けて中身を取り出せだったでしょ。でもこの箱は真っ白じゃない。文字が書いてあるもの。
For other methods that were used to train those models too, one weird one is something called Amazon Mechanical Turk. They used to pay folk to basically transcribe stuff. It was super cheap and would assign work to folks. Huh. Interesting.
それで桐生さんは箱を開けられなかったの。人間と違ってコンピューターは与えられた命令を忠実に実行しすぎるのね。だから命令の設定は慎重にやらなきゃいけないの。
Maho put the box back on the table. I couldn't see the letter from where I was.
もう一回だけやってみましょうか。岡部さん、今のを踏まえて適切な命令を考えてみて。
なるほど。つまりさっきは真っ白なと余計な言葉を付け足してしまったからダメだったんだよな。
そういうこと。
だったらもっとシンプルにいこう。テーブルの上の箱を開けて中身を取り出してくれ。
桐生さん、今の岡部さんの命令に従ってみて。言葉の通りに
忠実によ。
Moika turned her gaze once again from me to the box on the table.
できない。
Is it gonna be because there's only the Upa? Is it contents?
今度は何が問題なんだ？
Moika's brow wrinkled a little as she pointed at the box on the
こ
table.
れ箱じゃないから。
It's not a box!
え？
Ah! Maho burst out laughing as if she couldn't contain herself any longer. Her smile seemed more childlike than ever.
桐生さん、あなたは素晴らしい被験体だわ。こんなにうまくいくとは思わなかった。
This is a common first year CS class assignment with folks saying, tell me how to make a sandwich and demonstrating with specific software. You know, I think I've actually heard about that one. I had no idea what was going on.
どういうことなんだ？
It is smart. Maho turned the box around and explained the trick to
これ
me.
は箱ではない。また書き足したのか？
Oh my god.
この言葉が書いてあったから、桐生さんはこれが箱であると断定できなかった。だから開けられなかった。そうね。
That's pretty good.
そう。
いやいや。表面に何が書いてあっても箱は箱だろ
う。人工知能にはそれはわからないわ。箱というのがどういうものなのかを丁寧に教えてあげないといけないわ。
Computers are high-speed idiots. They do exactly what you tell them extremely fast. Yeah?
今回は気流ロボが箱とは何かを大まかには知っているという前
Garbage
提
in,
だったけど、
garbage out. Man. Robo Kiryu, that's cute.
この通り、ちょっと情報が揺れるだけで人工知能は期待した動作をしなくなるわけ。それに今はテーブルの上の箱はこれ1個しかないけど、もし箱そっくりの四角い石があったら、それと箱とを区別する命令も必要よね。箱の上に石が乗っていたら、まずその石をどかす命令をしないと中身を取り出すことはできないわ。こんな風にあらゆる可能性を一個ずつ排除する必要があるの。
そんなのキリがないな。
そうよ、キリがない。どんな条件が判断に影響するかわからないから、思いつくものは全部命令に含めなきゃいけないのよ。桐生さん、今日の朝食は何を食べたかしら？
For breakfast today. What was this
あ
about?
んまん。
あんまん以外に朝食の選択肢はあった？
肉まん。
もし肉まんを選んでいたら、桐生さんの行動は変わっていたかもしれないわよね。それも考慮に入れないと。あとはそうね、天気はどうかしら。今日は晴れているけど、もし雨だったらそれも考慮に入れないと。それにこの部屋の温度と湿度、テーブルの色も重要よ
Girl,
ね。
don't remind me about
も
the
ちろん
humidity.
材質と床からの高さも測らなきゃ。
I know.
そこのカーテンは開いているけど、
Don't want to
これ
think
が
about
閉
it.
まっていたら、あるいは半開きだった場合、75% 以上開いている場合を個別に検討しないと。カーテンの汚れ具合も関係するかもしれない。前にクリーニングに出したのはいつかしら。その時の料金や店員の態度だってパラメーターとして考慮する必要がある。それに
ストップストップ。
I had to stop her before she went any further.
いくらなんでも朝食や天気はテーブルの上の箱を取るかどうかに影響しないだろう。カーテンが汚れてるかどうかなんてもっと無関係だ。だからその辺はあらかじめ条件から除外してもいいはずじゃないか。
Maho's eyes began to shine.
そう、それよ。
え？
岡部さんの言う通りよ。確かに朝食や天気は箱を開けるのに何の関係もないわ。
だったら
でもどうして岡部さんはそれがわかるの？
Huh?
いや、そんなの普通に考えれば。
And then finally, I understood the point of this experiment. Maho nodded, satisfied.
そうよ。人工知能にはその普通というのがわからないのよ。
なるほど。
これがフレーム問題よ。ある一つの命令を実行するのに人工知能は付随する無数の条件を加味しなきゃいけないの。その条件のうちほとんどは本来無視できるはずなのだけど、人工知能にはどれを無視していいのかがわからない。そうなるとあらゆる事象を考慮しなければいけなくなる。でもあらゆる事象ってつまり無限ということよね。無限に存在する条件を全て確認していたら永久に箱を拾い上げることはできない。箱を開けるという行為に朝食のメニューやテーブルの色が関係ないことは人間なら考えるまでもなくわかるわ。でも人工知能にはそれができない。問題を解決するために検討する範囲をどこまでに設定するか、その枠を人間なら簡単に作れるけど人工知能にはできないの。枠、つまりフレームね。だからフレーム問題っていうの。
なるほど。面白いな。
でしょ？
でもどうして人間はその枠を決められるんだ？
それがさっぱりわからないの。人工知能研究60年に及ぶ謎の一つよ。アマデウスはフレーム問題を解明する研究でもあるの。クリスを見ていると一見フレーム問題を解決しているように見える。でもどうして彼女がそれを解決できているのかがわからない。それどころかクリス自身にも分かっていないのよ。
分かってないって、アマデウスは君が作ったんだろ？
仮説だったらいくらでもあるわよ。でも数学的には証明できていない。第一、私が作ったのは人間の脳が蓄えた記憶をデータとして抽出して脳と同じように駆動する人工知能メカニズムよ。
Dude, Moeka's freaking interview, her article's gonna pop off. They're giving her great content.
トータルでは脳の挙動をシミュレートしているけど、その全てを理解しているわけではないわ。地球と同じだけの質量を持った物体を作れば 1G の重力を発生させられる。だけど重力の発生メカニズムを解明したことにはならない。そういえば分かりやすいかしら。
全く分かりやすくはないが、言いたいことは分かった。人間のように動く人工知能はできた。けれどそれがなぜ人間のように動くのかはまだ分かってないわけだ。
そういうこと。でもこれだって人工知能研究においては画期的な発展なのよ。神経細胞の挙動をシミュレートする研究は以前から行われていたの。だけど効率的に機能するデータを作る方法が見つからなかった。
That ape isn't real and it can't hurt me. Haven't seen one of those in
人
forever.
間が何十年もかけて見聞きして整理分類して脳の中に構築したとんでもなく複雑回帰なデータ。
つまり記憶か？
そう、この記憶というデータの構造が長らく謎のままだった。けれどクリスの研究のおかげでひとまず記憶を丸ごとデジタル変換して取り出すことに成功した。未だにそのデータ構造自体は未知だけど、それをデータとして使うことはできるようになったわけ。
それがアマデウス？
ええ、そういうこと。人工知能研究ではこういう事象は多いのよ。でもいずれは必ず突き止めてみせる。 人類が持つ知能の正体をね。その時私はようやくクリスを。
Maho suddenly fell silent in the middle of her
どうし
sentence.
た？
なんでもないわ。他に聞きたいことはないかしら。フレーム問題に関係なくてもいいわよ。
There was a lot I wanted to ask, but it felt like we had more than enough for Moeka's article. I looked at Moeka, who hesitated a second before speaking.
何かしら、桐生さん。
人工知能が人間の能力を上回るものになることはあるの？
面白い質問だわ。現時点でもアマデウスは学力という意味でならここにいる私たちをすでに超えているでしょうね。クリスの記憶を有しているわけだから。
There was no matching the knowledge of a genius. I'd gone up against Kurisu any number of times and learned that the hard way.
でもそれはあくまで私たちと比べた場合。
Man. The ramp thing is crazy and it sucks. Such a mess.
クリスのベースはクリス本人。つまり人間の記憶よ。これが人間の能力を上回っているとみなすかは検討が必要でしょうね。
They're over here. They get the cool AI. We get the AI that makes everything expensive and kills the environment. We're in the bad timeline, bro.
ただし人間の能力を上回る人工知能ができるまではあとちょっとだと思うわ。もともと研究者の間では2050年くらいには人工知能が人間を超える時代が来ると言われているの。いわゆるシンギュラリティポイントね。
Ah, yes, the singularity point.
アマデウスの登場によってその日は
Exactly,
想定よりももっとずっと早く到来するはずよ。
A slot machine is not the will of Steins Gate. Shaking my head.
ありがとうございました。
どういたしまして。
機械が人間を上回るか。映画みたいな話だな。ありえるのか？
あら、工学系の大学生とは思えない発言ね。岡部さんは飛行機のように空を飛べないでしょ。新幹線より早く移動できないし、安物の電卓より計算が早いわけでもない。今この時点でも機械の能力はすでに人間を大きく上回っているのよ。
Bold of Maho to think I can do math at all.
脳だけが例外だなんて誰にも言えない。この世界に科学で説明できない奇跡のメカニズムなんて存在しないのよ。全ては物理現象なのだから、原理を解明すれば必ず人工的に作れるわ。未解明の問題を全て解決して真の人工知能を作る。それが私の仕事よ。インタビューとしてはこんな感じでどうかしら、桐生さん。
But Moeka just stared at her memo pad and didn't look
桐生
up.
さん、
ええ、これで十分。
Yeah,
きっと
girl has a lot to work with now.
岡部君もありがとう。
ああ、俺も興味深く聞かせてもらったよ。
I wanted to talk a little more, but both Maho and Moeka seemed to have work to do, so I decided to
全て
leave.
は物理現象か。
Maho thought exactly the way most AI researchers did, that there were no black boxes in the human brain. But I knew the truth. There were things inside the brain that science couldn't explain.
リーディングしたいなって何なんだろうな。
I would love to know. Was it ever going to be scientifically explained?
危ない危ない。
We got a shift. Hello. Maho quickly choked back her yawn and looked around to see if anyone saw her. There were other people doing the same thing she was, leaning up against the railing of the bridge and killing time. Of course, they were all too focused on themselves to pay her any mind. She planned on spending the day at Ferris's house, taking care of the paperwork left over from the office's temporary closure. But this morning she'd gotten a call from Dr. Leshkinen that had sent her hurrying to Tokyo Denki University. Tokyo Denki had, it seemed, offered them a temporary room at the school while their office was closed. Dr. Leshkinen had called Dr. Izaki at Tokyo Denki, who had given it to them without a second thought. So now she had decided to pay the new office a visit and discuss what they had planned to do for the future. The Kanda campus for Tokyo Denki University wasn't that far away from Akihabara, it seemed.
しかしまあいい天気ね。
The sky that poked out between the buildings had the clear color that was unique to winter. She'd spent the whole... I hate the way... The clear color that was unique to winter. You mean gray? I'm not enjoying summer right now because mosquitoes are driving me absolutely insane, but I don't super look forward to the cold coming, so... Weather. She'd spent the whole of yesterday cooped up inside her room, so the cold air felt good. She crossed her arms and reached upwards. I like a little bit of winter, but not when it freaking lasts forever. The reason she was standing here was that she was waiting for Moeka.
あ、来た。
Sorry, almost there. No hurry, take your time.
わざわざいいのに。
That is like a surprisingly short amount of like that. She said like nothing. If Kiryu was messaging Okabe, she would have sent like 5 messages, all to just be like, I'm not here yet. Is this growth? Is this character development? Maho didn't know the way to Tokyo Denki, so Moeka had kindly offered to take her there. And she'd asked for something in exchange.
ヒヤジョ博士の写真を撮らせてほしい。
Okay.
記事に載せたいから。
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know why you said it like that, but then again. Maho didn't really like having her picture taken, but if Moeka was nice enough to interview her, she wanted to do everything she could to help. Moeka had gone back to her home to get her camera. She said it was close enough to walk, so Maho had decided just to wait.
あの人、LINE だとテンション高いわよね。
She closed her phone and looked up, and then she saw Moeka directly under the bridge, running towards her.
待たせてごめんなさい。ヒヤジョ博士。
そんなに急がなくてもよかったのに。少し休んでいく？
平気です。
I know it's correct, and I guess technically, like, the right thing to do, but I'm not used to someone calling her Dr. Hiajo. She's so formal. Moeka went around in front of Maho and started to walk ahead. The year had just started and the subway was empty. Maho decided to take a closer look at Moeka, who was standing next to her and grabbing onto one of the handles. Moeka realized she was being watched and tilted her head. Then she took out her phone and started to type. Maho's phone suddenly rang at the bottom of her bag. She just received a Ryan message. What's up? I see, so we can talk on this train like this. It feels strange talking to you on Rhine when we're right next to each other. You didn't look like you were doing well. It may just have been my imagination. Moika's expression didn't change much, but Maho thought that didn't mean she had no feelings. When she looked into Moika's thin, pretty eyes, she could see that she was an interested observer of many things. Maybe that's what you'd expect from a writer. Sorry to worry you, it's nothing. Don't worry about it. Oh. I'll make sure you get to Denki-yu, Dr. Hiajo. It's weird being called Dr. Hiajo. It's weird? Yup. You don't have to call me doctor both in the real world and on Rhine. Let's be a little more informal. But then, what do I call you? Just call me by my name. That's what you do for Okabe, right? That's because he's a student, and younger than me. You could treat me the same way. We'll be roommates for a while, and we're both about the same age. Just call her Slob! That's crazy. So how about we call each other Moeka and Maho? I did think it was kind of weird that they literally were roommates last night, and now it's just like, hey, Dr. Hiajo. I don't know. You know what, Moeka's she's a weird little guy. When she's not killing people, she's doing her best, I think. You'd never tell by looking at them, but Maho and Moeka were only a year apart. And Maho was 21 and Moeka 20, which meant that she was the older of the two. And Maho couldn't help but wonder what kind of deal you had to make with God to get that height and those voluptuous breasts. No way. I've never called anyone by their first name. I'd be too nervous. Then how about Kiryu and Hiajo? Please be one of the few friends I've got in Japan. Got it. Will do. Okay. Then try saying it now. Moeka suddenly jerked upright and opened her eyes wide. You're on a bus alone! Or, well, a train, rather. The fact that they're casually using an app developed by Daru with their custom stickers and stuff rather than a more widespread one is always hilarious to me. Like, these two are pretty peripheral to the lab, but nah, this is their primary communications platform. I know, right? Like, it makes sense for the others, but these, you know what? It's fine. They met Daru and they met Okabe and they were like, damn, what's that app y'all are using? That shit looks slick, you know? They were converted, clearly. It's the only explanation. Maho nodded at Moeka's whispered question. You know what? Kiryu probably saw the Upas and was like, I gotta get in on this. And then found out that she could get even more custom emotes and was like, yeah, alright, bet. If we're doing it, I want to start now. But, like I just said, I'm really not good at talking to people. Really? I thought you were just nervous because Okabe was with us last night. Like you're the kind of person who gets nervous around the opposite sex. It's true that when I talk to men, I get even more nervous. You know, Joe, maybe in like the initial, maybe in the initial draft they were, and then someone like smacked him and were like, "Get it together, brother." He was like, "Ah, fair." To be honest, I'm not even gonna lie to you. I didn't even realize that it says a Daru application there. I'm freaking blind. I just remember at the beginning of the game, he explains that he makes it. I don't have eyes that work. Don't look at me. That's funny. In other words, when it's just girls, it's not so bad that you can't talk? Well, maybe. Then, since we're both girls, let's get along. I know, how about this? When it's just the two of us, how about we try to talk in person instead of Ryan as much as we can? Is Maho even into guys? Look, I'm trying... Yeah, no, I assumed she was. But I'm on Team Yuri now. I'm hoping. Especially with the way this started. I want to believe. I'd be less bored with someone to talk to. If you're going to be a writer for a magazine, I think it'd be a good chance to practice, don't you? Okay. I'll do my best. Moika seemed to steel herself, and then turned towards Maho. I mean, to be fair, it could just be flustered, not at the thought of her and Okabe specifically, but the thought of her being in a relationship at all, and just the fact that Karisu's the one teasing her, or the one that she is teasing her at all. Because I think they had mentioned before that Karisu is just very, like, interested in romance and stuff. So, I think from our point of view, yeah, it's, you know, because Okabe, there's like an extra, like, oh, but I think if there was any guy, I think from Maho's perspective, Karisu would just be like, oh shit! You know, like, she'd probably just tease her no matter who it was. But then again, yeah, could also be bi, but for now, I'm this too could be Yuri, maybe. I'm hoping. We'll see. I have no... I'm rooting for her. It's doomed, Yuri! But then again, what isn't? What isn't? Cries in the corner, dude. Nothing could have prepared me for Maho's route to be her hanging out with Kiryu, though. Did not see that coming. The train arrived at their station. The area around Tokyo Denki was quiet. Moika told her that the surrounding areas were offices and government buildings, which meant at this time of year there was almost no one around. She felt bad, but decided to have Moika wait outside. The school was still on break, so she could have waited in one of the rooms on campus, but Moika had refused. She split up with Moika. Maho got very lost on the way to Izaki's lab. The school was completely empty because of the break, so she couldn't ask anyone. In the end, she had to call Dr. Leshkinen and get detailed instructions. A letter was taped to the door marked Dr. Izaki's lab. The letter had a photo of a smiling Dr. Leshkinen, along with some low-resolution text that looked like it was directly printed from a PC screen.
世界脳科学総合研究機構日本オフィス準備室の設立者アレクシス・レスキネンからのお願いをお読みください。
I forgot he had a first name, I'm not gonna lie to you.
これをご覧の皆様全員から1ドルずついただければ
I will forget soon again.
おでん缶が食べられます。相変わらずこういうのが好きね、教授は。
No matter how formal the setting, when the professor wanted to tell a joke, he'd do it. He really was just like a child. but his carefree personality let Maho and Kurisu relax and enjoy their work. Suddenly remembering Kurisu made her heart ache a little. She suddenly realized that her sudden change of address, coupled with living with a person she'd barely even met, was taking its toll on her. Today she'd finally get the chance to talk to her again. Or, more accurately, the memories she'd left behind.
教授ですきねん教授
When she stepped inside the lab and called the professor's name, the giant in the back came running to greet her.
やあ魔法よく来てくれたね。パワーアップした準備室へようこそ。
はあつまりこのテーブルとソファー2つがパワーアップした準備室なんですね。
Yes、シンプルであることこそが真理へ近づく秘訣であるというだろう。
誰の言葉ですか？
Yeah! Yeah, I think my internet might be shitting itself. I'm not gonna lie. Interesting, okay. It doesn't say there's any drop frames on my end, but my internet in OBS is like all over the place. So I was slightly worried about that. Sad. Well, I fear that might be a me thing today, but I don't know what the cause is, so I was gonna end somewhat soon anyway. Since it is getting late, I may just take this as a sign, because normally my internet never, you know, freaks out. But I don't like that it's saying I'm in the red, so I apologize for the skipping. But something is angry. So I guess we will, yeah, I don't know what it is, but something's mad. So I apologize for the abrupt ending, but we will just have to, pick up with Maho's ending next week. And then carry on with the rest. So, sorry gamers, but enjoy the rest of your evenings, and I will catch you guys next weekend.